All right, guys, Mikey here from Mikey's Iron Rage. And guys, we're going to take it back to the 2011 Mr. Olympia. And we're going to do it on the cut above the rest. Jay Cutler versus Phil The Gift Heath. And I'm going to tell you guys why Jay Cutler got fucking destroyed here at the 2011 Mr. Olympia. Now, I know he was dealing with a few injuries at the time, because a year later in 2012, he didn't even compete, but came back in 2013 to place 6th. So he definitely dropped in placings because no one was beating Kai Green or Phil Heath in 2013, who placed 1st and 2nd. Then you had Dennis Wolf and Sean Roden, who placed 3rd and 4th, and they looked unbelievable. Dexter Jackson ended up placing 5th. So Jay Cutler placing 6th, I'm good with that. But he did fall off a steep cliff in 2013 and 2011, especially with those bicep injuries that he had. But I digress. So guys, let's just jump right into this one, because it should be a good one and an eye-opener, to say the least. Because Phil Heath brought it in 2011, and Jay Cutler in 2011, not so much. And so guys, without any further ado, let's get it on. And we got the first pose of the night, guys, the front relaxed. And I'm going to go with Phil Heath. You see what I'm talking about, guys? Look at how off Jay Cutler was. So sloppy looking. And I mean, it's just crazy how he went from looking one way in 2010 to looking like this 1 year later in 2011. Now, his quads are diced. They're very sunk in. The separation is great. He's got feathering to the quads, but he doesn't have a great V-taper, so I'm going to go with Phil Heath. Phil Heath has so much more detail, and Phil Heath's midsection was fucking super tight in 2011. I say it all the time. Phil Heath in 2011 had the most ripped midsection, but 2013 his midsection was the tightest. So all in all, I'm going to give Phil Heath the first point for the front relaxed. All right, guys, off to the next pose. And we got the front double bicep. And I'm going to give this one to Phil Heath as well. Look at Jay's left arm. It doesn't match up with the right arm whatsoever. And he doesn't have a great V-taper. He's got good legs, but his upper body's just overpowering his legs. Even though his legs are pretty big, his upper body always overpowered his legs from, like, I would say 2006 on. So all in all, I'm going to give Phil Heath the point there. I think Phil Heath looks unbelievable in that pose. All right, guys, now we got the side chest shot, and I'm going to throw Jay Cutler a bone here, because Jay Cutler's chest is popping a little bit more. I think the silhouette just looks a tad better. Phil's midsection in Serratus looks a little bit better than Jay's does, but can't really see Jay's midsection too much in this pose. So all in all, Jay Cutler, though, is going to get the point for the side chest shot, just because I think he looks a little bit better, and his side chest is popping a little bit more. All right, guys, now we got the front lat spread. And look at how much detail Phil has in the front lat spread. He's not wide. He's very narrow. And Phil Heath and Jay Cutler are the same height, 5'9". And it's crazy how much wider Jay Cutler is. That's just genetics. You can't really do much about that. But I'm going to give Phil Heath the point. I think Phil Heath looks fantastic. And he's got a nice detail to the abs, to the midsection department, to the quads. Jay Cutler's just very washed out up top. I think Phil looks a lot better. So Phil's going to grab the point there. All right, guys, now we got the side tricep. And I want to go with Jay Cutler, but I just think Phil has a thicker tricep, a better silhouette. The shoulder's a little bit bigger. The side sweep to the quads look a little bit better. I mean, Jay's side tricep looks a little more deeply cut, but Phil's is a little bit better. Plus, when Phil throws up a front double bicep pose, his triceps look gigantic. Well, his arms look gigantic. So all in all, Phil Heath is going to grab the point for the side tricep. All right, guys, now we got the ab and thigh. And this was a pretty tough one, because Jay Cutler looks like he kind of has an 8-pack going on. Phil Heath has a nice, decent 6-pack. V-taper's pretty good. Quads are pretty on point, because we got to go off the quads as well, because it's an ab and thigh. But Jay Cutler has a better set of quads, and I just think Jay Cutler holds a great ab and thigh. He always did, so I'm going to give Jay Cutler the point. Now, Jay Cutler did look a lot better in this pose in 2009, 2001, but I digress. All right, guys, now we got a hands clasp most muscular and a hands on the hip most muscular. I couldn't get Jay Cutler in a hands on the hands clasp most muscular pose, so we're going to have to go with what we got, and Phil Heath is going to grab the point. Phil Heath looks like he was blown up by an air pump, though, right, guys? That's from all those fucking peptides. Look at how big his delts are. His delts, his arms, fantastic. Tight midsection. That was what Phil Heath was missing throughout a lot of his career, was a tight midsection, because the whole focal point of the physique is the midsection. I say it all the fucking time. But all in all, Phil Heath is going to grab that one, guys. All right, now we got the crab most muscular, and Phil Heath destroys Jay Cutler in this pose. Now, if you know anything about Jay Cutler, he always had a great crab most muscular pose. Traps popping like crazy. His traps are definitely popping a little bit more than Phil's are. But Phil just fills out the pose a little bit better. He looks fuller. His chest isn't as wide as Jay's, but all in all, I'm going to give the point to Phil Heath. All right, guys, now we got a rear lat spread. And Jay Cutler, I don't know what happened to his lower back, but he's missing half of his lower back. I mean, his hams and glutes are there, but other than that, his rear lat spread is terrible. He never had the best rear lat spread, but I don't know what happened to his lower back. Phil Heath, on the other hand, has a great lower back, great detail to the lats, and his traps are popping a little bit more. They're a little more sunk in. And like I said, his lower back is unbelievable. Hams and glutes on point, so Phil's going to grab the rear lat spread. All right, guys, now we got the rear double bicep in the last pose of the night. And if Jay Cutler had a little bit of a better lower back, maybe I would go with Jay Cutler because he is wider. His traps are thicker. His lat insertions are decent. But Phil Heath is so 3D. How could you go against Phil Heath in the rear double bicep, though, right, guys? He looks so 3D. Now, if he was just a little bit wider, he would have one of the best rear double biceps ever because you could say Dorian Yates, Ronnie Coleman. There were a lot of guys who had really good rear double bicep poses, but Phil Heath is right up there as having one of the best rear double bicep poses in all of bodybuilding. All right, guys, so let's tally them up. We got Phil Heath with 8, and we got Jay Cutler with 2. Wow, Phil Heath destroyed Jay Cutler. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm going to tell you guys why, Phil Heath destroyed Jay Cutler in this comparison, and I just told you guys why in this comparison video. He was just so much better than Jay Cutler. But it's funny because a year before this, Phil Heath lost to Jay Cutler at the 2010 Mr. Olympia. But I digress again. So guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, just tickle that Kevin Levrone icon button. Mikey's Iron Rage. Peace out, guys.